She made a turn at the end of the corridor, and a cement wall, glazed wet and spotted with black mold, blocked her way. Unable to stop short enough, she tumbled into it, throwing up her arms to protect her face and scraping them from wrist to elbow. Sudden, sharp, jarring pain speared her skull as well as her arm. "Damn!" She whispered the word, afraid of it, afraid of the hopelessness contained in it. She backed away from the wall, slow, step by step, her chest heaving, her face pinched tight in a grimace from the throbbing in her head. Clouds in her mind obscured logical thoughts. She could hear echoes and voices that made it hard to concentrate. She wasn't sure now if they were outside her skull, bouncing around the hallway, stray threads of sound from the Hollower, or in her head. She counted steps in reverse, the skin around her eyes tight from fighting off tears. She stopped when sharp cold whipped down the neck of her nightgown, across the backs of her arms, and lifted her hair. Sally turned around. The figure she saw dulled all sense of thought or flight. She opened her mouth to say something and then closed it. The strength had gone out of her hands, but they flexed open and closed at the sides of her nightgown with weak deliberateness anyway. The Hollower leaned casually against the wall, as if waiting for someone, waiting for her, without really touching the wall at all. Its arms were crossed over its chest. A fedora, so black it was almost blue, tilted low on its bald, earless head, which was bent down as if it dozed. It wore a long black trench coat of the same hue and featureless black clothes beneath. Its shoes blended into the gloom gathered at its feet. It picked up its head to look at her. The smooth, blank plane beneath the hat was utterly featureless. It had no face whatsoever, yet she felt it watching her, even felt it smiling. Something about the trick of light and shade from somewhere inside it, the wrong kind of darkened light, like in her room. It uncrossed its arms and extended one out in front of it. Its black glove closed in a fist. Beneath the fingers, blood pattered to the tiles in the center of the hallway. On its own, the blood ran off along the tiles, racing toward her. She stepped back, but it formed an irregular circle around her feet. The Hollower laughed, drawing her gaze back up to it. Like a magician palming a coin that has disappeared, it presented an open, bloodless palm to her with a flourish. Then it waved at her. "Found you," it told her, in throaty male and female voices. She offered nothing but a miserable sob. It gravitated away from the wall and stood in front of her, blocking her way. "Now, die." She spun around and lunged forward. Suddenly her feet felt light, so light she couldn't feel the floor beneath her. Her stomach bottomed out. Air whooshed up and tugged her hair, and she realized she was falling, gaining speed as the walls rushed by her, her nightgown tangling up around her waist. She couldn't scream. The air pressing against her chest made her scared, too scared to inhale. She twisted midair, her arms flailing to try to slow her fall, her hands grasping at anything to hold on to and finding nothing. She saw the glowing white faceless thing, its hat tipped low, growing smaller as it looked down. Sally hit the bottom of the concrete shaft hard enough to loosen teeth when they smashed together. She didn't feel that. Nor did she feel her hip or elbow shattering against the tile floor, because the impact broke her back first. She didn't feel her leg twisted up under her like a deer mangled along the side of the highway, but she had less than a second's sense of its wrongness, its bulgy poppingness. She bounced once, and then landed hard again. And she didn't feel the jagged tile that broke her neck bury itself straight through from the base of her skull to her throat. but she thought she heard Dave's borrowed voice giggling high and strained before the darkness swallowed her.